by design, your spine is meant to be fluid, moving, and mobile. A source of power and stability, right? So it's able to generate huge amounts of force when needed, but it's also able to get stiff and firm and stabilize the heaviest of loads when it's needed also. However, for a lot of the people that we've worked over the past 20 years, that necessarily isn't the case anymore. Most people we see today have almost completely lost the ability to move and stabilize their torso, right? It's all locked up and stiff, and even more so than that, besides from being just locked up and stiff, it's all out of alignment and cockeyed and just not straight, right? For what straight's supposed to be. It's not straight, which means that you're more subject to injury during those scenarios where you need to be mobile, you need to be loose, or you need to support some weight or some force, all right? Really, you got two different scenarios that this stems from, all right? Scenario number one is somebody who's lived a very sedentary lifestyle, all right? They don't really move around too much. They don't really do anything too strenuous. And just from pure lack of usage, they've lost the ability to generate, to stabilize force and to stay mobile. Their spine stiffened up, and they lost all that mobility and strength, right? Scenario number two is somebody with a very active lifestyle, all right? They're very active. They do a lot of sports. They go to the gym. They lift weights. They do all this different stuff, but they never do any form of mobility training, right? They never stretch. They never utilize any kind of movement-based routines. And as a survival reflex to their training, their torso and their spine stiffened up, it got tight, and it's lost its ability to flex and move because it was just adapting to the training regimen they were doing, where anybody who's got a very weight training based routine, what have we heard for years growing up? Anybody who grew up in the 80s and 90s in the gym, don't bend your spine, don't move your spine, stay stiff. You start staying stiff like that under heavy loads for a couple years, at a time, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, your spine starts getting used to staying that way. So just from a lack of mobility training, we've lost that ability to stay mobile with our spine also. Now, by not being able to move properly, your body starts compensating and doing things in different ways than what it's meant to do, right? So typically those compensations will come from different areas like the neck, the upper back, the shoulders, the hip, the knee, the ankle, pretty much all the major joints, right? I think your elbow and your wrist are the only two safe ones, and even those are probably going to get injured some way if you can't move the right way from the spine, right? But what happens is this. You're doing something in the gym one day, you get a little tweak, get a little injury because your spine's not moving the right way. Okay, well, all right, shit, I can't bend my back. So now instead of rotating from the spine, maybe you start compensating by bending this knee in, right? So now you spend the next couple months or a year moving the wrong way on the knee, moving the wrong way on the knee, and then boom. Okay, well now because my knee's out of alignment and my hip was making up for my knee, now my hip goes, shit, now I'm getting this like really awkward pain in my knee when I'm doing my leg press. From the hip, it goes to the neck. From the neck, it goes down to the foot. And then from the foot, now because everything's all compensated, you go to plant, redirect one day, boom, your ACL goes. Your MCL goes. You tear your meniscus. You throw your back out, you get a herniated disc. Something happens where, oh my God, now I'm hurt, seriously hurt, and I got to get surgery or I'm out for a couple months. All that stuff came back to the fact that you were doing no mobility work from your spine, and you put your body in a scenario where it had to start moving differently because it couldn't move the way it was meant to move anymore. Because of the exercises you were doing and the training you were doing, it's not that training is bad, it's just that you got to supplement it so you keep your body fluid and mobile while you're doing the other stuff too. One of the biggest tools we use to help re-correct all that stuff is the Rmt Ropes developed by, they weren't developed by David Weck or the Weck method, but he's one of the first and the front and foremost, I think I said that right, industry leaders as far as training people how to use the ropes correctly. And what the ropes do is it teaches your body and your spine how to move through this fluid figure eight pattern that he's developed to teach people, where that figure eight pattern is the way your spine's developed to move. And we use the ropes to help recreate that motion pattern again, to help reteach people how to open up the spine, move better again, and ultimately start eliminating all these aches and pains and ailments that we're suffering from just, from day-to-day life, not moving around, and just the effects of long-term training. And this inexpensive piece of rope is literally the best way I've seen, and I've done a lot of stuff with people. This is one of the best ways we have for reintroducing fluid movement and mobility into your spine again to help unlock that torso, start relieving some of the tension that's on the different spots of your body, and get you moving back to a more pain-free lifestyle again, whether it's just from your day-to-day stuff or, in your training and sports activities. So without further ado, let's take a look to see what we got. So the first training technique I'm going to teach you is collarbone figure eights. Now, collarbone figure eights are just a very basic body body weight movement pattern. It's not really body weight, but you know what I'm going to say with it. It's a very body-based movement pattern that kind of teaches you the way you should be moving with your spine and shoulders as you go. Very simple, all right? We're going to take both the pointer finger and the middle finger. We're going to push them down just underneath the collarbones, right? I don't want to block the mic. We're going to push them down just underneath the collarbones. And we're going to pull down the pecs, all right? What that's going to do is help kind of angle down our collarbones so this way we can't elevate and depress, and it's just going to kind of keep our arms tight to the side. What I'm going to do from there is, all right, I'm going to stay tall on the crown. I don't want to tuck my chin. I want to stay nice and long. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing these big circles on the outside of my body with my shoulder, right? I draw a big circle on this side. Then I draw a big circle on this side. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing both of those circles simultaneously as I'm going. I got the one circle going to the outside of my right shoulder. I got the other circle going to the outside of my left shoulder, right? Now, as far as my stance goes, let me move where you guys can see my stance. I'm going to back up a little bit. That's a little far from the camera, but. So my stance, I'm going to go back to the same stance principles I always do. Feet about one hand's distance apart. Toes slightly turned in, heels out, knees out. Why? So we can load the glutes, so we can load the bow of the leg, right? Riding the rails, pressure on the outside rail of the foot. I'm going to that collarbone position, and then what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to draw those two big circular discs on the outside of my body with my shoulder bones. As I'm going, I'm dipping the shoulder, I'm scooping up and around, and I'm drawing this big underhanded figure eight pattern. My body, right, from the side view, if you look, if you think about the pistons on a train, right, as they're going, the pistons on the train are on the side of the train. They go up and down just kind of like my shoulders are going, and they're generating that momentum. This is an underhanded figure eight because I'm coming from over and under with the motion. In the next video, we're going to take the ropes and we're going to add the ropes in to that base motion we're going to build upon just from what we just did.